Hey everybody, this is Brian with The Truth About Watches, and today we're going to take a look at the Invicta 8926. So let me get her spun up a little bit here so we can get the movement running. I got this watch off of Invicta Shark and I paid $59 for it, which is a little bit ridiculous if you ask me for an automatic watch. And this Invicta, I know there have been some complaints online, but it has been absolutely flawless for me. This movement keeps about 2 seconds a day slow, which, I mean, I have Rolexes and Omegas that do not keep that accuracy, and this is unregulated. It came from the factory at that rate. I just don't see how you're going to possibly beat that for $59. It has the typical Submariner features, about the same size. As you can see, the case is signed by Invicta. Again, with everything I have made by Invicta, they love to put their name on it. The bezel on this watch is one of my favorite features. And as you can see, I'm really having to put some effort into turning it. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of looking silly here. It's a solid bezel. And this click is reminiscent of my goodness gracious, I can hardly move it right now. But it's obviously going to stay in place, and the tick marks line up very well. I feel like this is probably one of the highest quality Invicta bezels next to the 6030. Get it lined back up there. The bracelet here, no solid end links, which is a little bit frustrating. There you can see the Miyota 8215 and the heart ticking away. Again, the no end links that are the no solid end links. It's frustrating for me, but most of these watches will end up on a NATO strap for me within 2 months of being purchased. I just happen to enjoy the bracelet for this one. It is pretty high quality. It's a little bit more rickety than the Pro Diver 6030 lume dial that I reviewed. Obviously, the price point's a little lower for this watch, especially on the MSRP end. And also, the watch is a lot lighter, so I guess they figured they didn't need as heavy of a band. This watch is about 40 to 41 millimeters, and it has the signed clasp. Again, got to put their name on it. And this is another one of the watches from Invicta that has just a lack of the thing that I enjoy, which is the spring bar here that keeps that in place when you put it down. A lot of my Orients have it, none of my Invictas do. I don't know why Invicta can't get together on that, but it's a really neat feature to have, especially when you scuba dive. The engravings on the back, pretty standard, resistant 200 meters, stainless steel, and it says, of course, Invicta. So I get a better shot here of the movement running. And this Miyota movement is very smooth. I'm going to pull the crown here and see if I can get this noise on the camera. So that may or may not have come through, but it's a very, very smooth movement. I'm actually incredibly impressed by this little Miyota. I didn't expect a whole lot when I got this watch. I really and truly expected it to be pretty cheap, but it has really turned out to be a winner. The movement's smooth, incredibly smooth. I'm not sure if it's coming through real well, but there you go, you can see it there. It's ticking at 21,000-ish beats per second, which obviously is slower than a Rolex or an Omega. So, but if you can watch it for just a second here, it's only minutely less smooth than my Sea Dweller. I've held them up side by side and watched them, and it's really, really hard to tell. And I'm pretty sure it's just because the length of the second hand here doesn't provide for a whole lot of bounciness. You can see Invicta does have their logo on the top. I don't mind it too much. One thing I do kind of mind, as you can see here in the bottom, it's got like 7 lines of printed text, and I'm exaggerating, but they went a little overboard on the silk screening there, and I wish they would get rid of all that. But let's check out the lume. Again, like most of my Invictas, this watch runs Trinite compound. I'm not a fan. I think probably the best iteration of Trinite is going to be the Russian Diver 4338 or the Invicta Pro Diver 6030. Both of those watches, the 6030 by the way is the lume dial that I've reviewed. They have decent lume, especially on the hands. The Russian Diver, the whole dial lights up just like the lume dial. It's a very cool watch. Give us a couple more seconds here. This watch holds probably a little bit better charge than the others. I'm not sure if they put the lume compound on it thicker or what they've done. But let me kill the lights real quick and we'll check this out. So you can see here, this watch does light up pretty well. It maintains brightness probably a little bit longer than the lume dial. The only difference is the lume dial, you can see the numbers, so it's still a little bit better for legibility at nighttime. As you can see, the top of the bezel dot is a little bit darker than the rest of the dial. I've noticed this on a couple of my Invictas. I'm not sure why that is. It could just be that the light wasn't shining on it properly. I don't know, but it seems like they just they don't quite glow as well. The second hand is actually one of the brightest dots on there. I'm not sure if that's transferring very well to the camera, but it's one of the brightest dots on the dial. As you can see there, those 10 seconds will give this watch about 20 minutes of glow, which is pretty standard for Invicta Tri-Night. I don't really have a problem with that. I can suffice to say that that's worth the price paid. About 2 to 3 hours in sunlight will give you about 4 hours of lume on this watch. I'd have to go look at my sheet of paper again, but it sounds about right. Again, nothing stellar. You're not going to win any illumination contests, but for what I do, it's fine. I'm sure for basic underwater use, it would be fine. Just a couple more things to note here. Like most Invictas, this watch has 4 micro adjustments, which I've really grown accustomed to Invicta bands because most of my other watches only have 3 that I've noticed, and it makes it difficult to get it perfect for me because I have a strangely sized wrist, I guess, for how big people make links. So having the extra micro adjustment is just a nice touch for me. Just in conclusion, I would say that this watch has been a really phenomenal watch for $59. The Miyota's been accurate as all get out. It runs and it just never stops. This watch has probably about a day of power reserve, but it just keeps on ticking, and it's taken a couple pretty good hits at work up against the side of cars or car doors or on my desk, and as you can see, it's still going strong. One thing I'm not sure if you can see also that's very, very cool is the little wings on the back of the second hand. It's a nice touch. I have a 8926 where I've modified the hands to get rid of that goofy Mercedes logo. This is not that one, obviously. One other thing to note, does have a Cyclops. Can't stand it, but have to deal with it because everybody else seems to like them. So I guess that's